Welcome to In the Alley with Shady Sports Network. My name is Cody, and I am here with Arthur Jackson III, wide receiver from the San Diego Strike Force. How are you doing today?
Doing pretty good, man. Grateful to be here.
Awesome. I've got quite a few questions. I'm probably not going to ask all of them, and honestly, I just want this to kind of just be a conversation where we just kind of talk. I don't want to ask all these questions if I don't have to, but if that's what we're going to do, then fine by me. But if you're cool with it, I want to start off with a question that I always love asking is how did you hear about the Indoor Football League? What got you in here, and what has kind of kept you around for the last couple of seasons?
So I heard about the Indoor Football League through my agent or former agent I was living with at the time, and it was a team by the name of the Louisville Extreme that got disbanded later that year. But I went out there. I mean, had to be one of the worst experiences in the IFL I think anyone could have had. I mean, you talk to any of my teammates, they would say the same thing. But yeah, that was my first introduction. I mean, during that season, I would say we had two games canceled due to double booking with concerts and stuff like that. So yeah, I was after that season, and I think I was only there for about 6 weeks, and then the team folded. Unfortunately, the league got together and voted to fold the team, and then thinking I was done with it after that, and then I went to Vegas in 2022 and joined the camp there, their first inaugural season, and all the production that went along with that. And then I ended up finishing out that season with Tucson and the Sugar Skulls in 2022. And then after that, the Bay Area Panthers were in 2023, but that season was cut short in the IFL because I went to the USFL. But yeah, I mean, the USFL is gone now, but the IFL is a league that's definitely gained a lot of talent over the last few seasons, especially with the merger. And I think that when it comes to having talent in a league like the IFL, you can't beat it.
So take me through 2021. You joined the Louisville Extreme. I
Mhm.
think they played about like five or six games or something. What was that process? Did the coach just come in and say, "Hey, we don't have any money. We can't pay you guys"? Or you said double booking for concerts and stuff like that. What was that kind of going? What was that process like going through your head? Going like, "Man, I just signed on here and now we're done."
So, I didn't know anything about the IFL before I basically arrived. So when I got there, it was just like the shock of seeing the field was shorter, the facilities is a little bit different than, in college and stuff like that. So all of that coming into account, and then, you go there for a game and you don't play, and then the next game you don't play, and then you go there and thinking you're going to play, and then they schedule some ESTG concert on the same day, and then you skip another week, and it's like you're putting all this effort into practice, and then the management didn't really put the same effort into the team as you're
Yeah,
putting into it, and the league saw that, and they were able to get together and vote that the team should be disbanded.
I got you. I got you. Let's fast forward to this year.
Mhm.
Second team all indoor football honors. You missed three games, but what was it for this season compared to the last couple of seasons where you just kind of had this breakout year? Like, was it just having Nate Davis throw you the ball, or was there just something that kind of clicked at the start of the season or partway through where you were just catching everything, it seems?
Um, I had a point to prove this season. Um, I'm constantly someone who's overlooked, especially when it comes to my talent and my what's the word for it? Production on the field. So I had to make a statement saying that there's nobody out here better than me. And I think having the most touchdowns in the season, most receiving touchdowns, 30 in a season, second most all time, most this year. I think that pretty much proved my point.
Yeah, 64 receptions, 774 yards, and 29 touchdowns, or maybe
Well, I
30
will
touchdowns.
say during those stats are a little wrong because
It's
the
the
first game
IFL.
versus the Arizona No, I'll tell you because the first game versus the Arizona Rattlers, they gave Rudy Johnson one of my touchdowns, but he was at quarterback. So he threw me a 30-yard touchdown, but they said that he caught a 30-yard touchdown from himself. So the stats online are a little weird, but
Oh yeah,
yeah,
oh yeah. Trust me,
they're
I
missing 30 yards in a touchdown.
trust me, man. I do weekly recaps and previews on this channel. I understand completely. Trying to make sure,
Yeah.
like there are times I check, and it's like some Iowa Barnstormers or Green Bay players have like lost yardage from one week to another. How do you lose yards? Anyway,
Right.
we'll move, we'll move on. Um, so you have this breakout season. You're
Yeah.
you're getting up from being doubted and everything like that. Is there any sort of like superstition, anything you did differently this year compared to last year, where you're just like, hey, I got to keep doing the same routine, eat the same food, whatever? Any sort of superstitions, prayers, things along those lines, where you're just like, I'm going to have a good season.
I can't say that there's anything specifically, but this last off season was really huge for me because it taught me a lot on how to deal with life and certain things because I lost my mother last year in July. So it kind of just instead of folding and falling out and falling away, I decided to play for her, and play because she still had a lot of life left when she passed, in my opinion. So I had to have her living through me on the field and keep going. And this season was really a memorial season for her. And I allowed God to play through me and for her. And so I just felt like that was the main superstition slash difference that I've had from the years before. Um, but yeah, I really enjoyed this last season. Nate Davis made definitely makes a difference.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna, yeah, he definitely makes a difference at quarterback. He's so smart and wise to the game, and the guys that next to me, everyone doing their job, and everyone was amazing this year. So it just helped me be as good as I could possibly be.
I know. I just want to say my condolences to you. I'm sorry to hear that, man. It sucks to have something like that happen. But
No, no
that
worries.
that kind of leads me to my next question, kind of about Nate Davis. But like, what's a typical game week for the San Diego Strike Force? Like, what does Coach Jenniser emphasize for you or for the wide receiving core or whatever when it comes to like Nate Davis calling his own plays, things along those lines? Like, take me kind of through that game plan.
So normal week game plan wise, we come out, get our early outs, our workouts in, but a lot of times we just focused on ourselves. So like we would go back and look at the things that we did and how the game played out from the week before, and we would look at all of our own mistakes. And more often than not, our own mistakes would be more than anyone else was doing against us. So instead of focusing on our game plans against our opponents for the most part and things like that, we focused on tuning up the things that we can do and making the things that we do really well great, making the things that we don't do so well great as well. So that would be a normal week. Probably ramp it up Tuesday, Wednesday, relax it a little bit Thursday, Friday, and then come to game day ready to go.
Is it all shortened and everything like that on like an away game? Obviously, you have to get on a bus or on a plane or anything to travel. So I'm assuming it's all kind of condensed into just a couple of days, considering it like going on the road.
Really, it's just with the pulse of the team. Because, for example, if we had a great week the week before and we showed a couple early good days of practice, there's no need to push and to force an extra day out of us, especially when we're already rolling. Like late in the season, we were rolling pretty good. I would say we had some condensed practices, but it was we still showed up and got our work.
I got you. You got your work done in week 16. Player of the week honors 10 catches, 147 yards, and 6 touchdowns, including the game winner against Northern Arizona. What was going through your mind? You were in your bag. What just made it look so easy in that game?
Because it was. But one of those. But see, something funny about that day is I actually made the drive up from my home in Phoenix, and it's about a 2-hour drive. And on that drive, the air conditioning went out in my vehicle, and there was a traffic jam on a 2-lane highway coming
Mm.
through the mountains. So me and my fiance were stopped in traffic for probably 2.5, 3 hours with no AC in Arizona. So we put, and then it was probably about 105, 107 that day. So, me and her cooking on the way up there and then walk into the stadium drenched in sweat, suit up, and that's the game. So, and what you seen out there surprised even me.
I mean, like we just said, Nate Davis makes it look easy. You were getting open. You were just behind the defense. It seemed like every single play. So, hey, man, if he's going to throw it to you and you're open, why not catch it,
Every time.
right? Now, 2024 didn't end the way you guys wanted it to, but you've made it farther than any other San Diego team has ever done. Getting to the Western Conference Finals, losing to
Yeah.
Arizona. Uh, but you did end up catching the game sealing, not the game winning, but the game sealing touchdown against Bay Area in San Jose. I know your hometown's Oakland, and I'm sure you had family and friends in the stands during that game. what was that experience like? Just going back to Bay Area. I know you played them 4 times in the regular season, but just going back to Bay Area, your hometown, and just being able to kind of put on a show and beat the number one seed in the West to advance.
Well, it was definitely a fun environment. It was a fun day. It was a great atmosphere. Bay Area had a lot of fans show up. I did have family, friends, colleagues, classmates that I went to school with showed up. I had earlier in the season at one of our 4 games, I had was able to have the high school that I went to, their junior team, come out at about 20 got 20 or so people for tickets. Every time we played down there, it was very fun having family and friends show up. But being on the opposite side of Bay Area from having played with them in 2023, it's definitely fun because the guys, the coaches, and it's a little fun back and forth.
You know,
And it's always a competitive game. Keith coaches a well-coached team, and Dixie had a well-coached offense. And I just think that they were a great opponent, and we had a lot of fun during those games.
now, when you played for Bay Area, you only played a couple of games, right? Just a couple of games in the regular season last year.
Yes,
Okay, I was gonna say you
yes,
didn't.
four
Were you?
games.
I say you weren't part of the playoff push or the championship or anything.
No, no, no. I was there for the first 4 games, and then I got called by the USFL Generals.
Yeah. What was that? What was that like? Because that was another question I had written down. Is you did have an opportunity to play a couple of games in the USFL,
Yes.
obviously going coast to coast. What did that look like for you?
So in order to talk about that, it kind of starts back in September of 2022 because that's when I originally got signed by the New Jersey Generals. So at the end of the 2022 IFL season, I ended up going to the Major League Football and that folded. And then I got signed after that to the Generals. So throughout the whole offseason, I'm on the roster for the New Jersey Generals until February, and they released me in February for numbers, but I didn't, we never had gotten to camp at that point. So I stayed in
Right.
contact with the coaches, and they said if something happens, we'll call you back. If this, and that happens, we'll call you back. And that's just what happened. I think week 4 after the Tucson game, I got a call that Tuesday, and they brought me out the next day. I was in Canton, Ohio. Um, it was a fun experience. I think the first game there was Pittsburgh, and then after that, I was able to start practicing and getting into the swing of the.
That's right. They had
Um,
the hubs, didn't they? I forgot. You
yeah,
didn't
they
play
had
in the building.
hubs.
That's right. That's right. I forgot about that.
Hmm.
I thought everyone still had their home venues and shit. I forget. Oh, language. Sorry. I don't know if we can cuss or whatever. Trying to limit
Don't blame
that.
me. I didn't start it. I didn't start it. So
Hey,
no.
there you
It
go.
was-
But yeah, I forgot they had the hubs. I forgot. But speaking of traveling, I do want to touch on your college football career a little bit. Quite a few
right.
accolades as well. Again, from Oakland. I know you went to a junior college. You wind up at Eastern Michigan of all places.
Mhm.
How did that come about?
I felt Eastern Michigan at the time had a great culture as far as coaching staff, the team. Like they had a group of guys that really felt like they were family and that they were all pushing towards the same goal. And I really enjoyed that when I took my visit. I felt like there were a lot of genuine people there. One huge factor that influenced me to go there was the receiver coach, Herb Haygood. He was just a real good mentor to me my year that I had him for. He was just a really, really great coach to have. And so that was a big reason I went to Eastern Michigan. And I had a couple of other offers. University of Hawaii was one of them. And I think I got Utah State late, like after I had committed already. So it's hard to count it, but it was there.
I got to knock you, man. I mean, you got an offer from Hawaii and you chose Michigan. Come
That was the
on.
first. Yeah, Hawaii was my first offer.
I know.
Hawaii was the first one.
I'm just messing around, man. But did they have the gray football field at that time, or was that right before?
Yes.
They did.
Nah.
Okay.
So
I
what
mean,
they did was they had the new building that Eastern Michigan had got built my senior year. So 2019, I got to move into that building. But 2017, when I was taking my recruiting visit, actually it was January 2018, they still had the old Eastern Michigan team locker room before they knocked it down. And then in 2018, we were underneath the baseball stadium because they had just knocked it down. Then they rebuilt it and we moved in. But yeah, they still had the gray turf. I think they got the gray turf in like 2014 or something like that.
okay. I thought it was later than that. Man, time flies. Now,
Yeah.
with that, You ended up playing a season with Max Crosby. And
Yes.
I know you've gone through other NFL talent. You've gone up against Kenny Pickett in a bowl game, Rondale
Yeah.
Moore, Sky Moore. You know, go Chiefs. But what was it like with Max Crosby? Was it just kind of a men amongst boys kind of thing, just watching him just terrorize the offensive line?
So it was, being a receiver, it was cool because I didn't have to go up against him. Then 2 minute drill, there was no 2 minute drill. He took over every 2 minute drill. There was no moving the ball for the offense. And team, it was hard to run much of team because I mean, we had a good right tackle. Our right tackle, I think, won all MAC, all conference, and it didn't matter because Max is just that dominant. He wasn't the same size. He was about 100, maybe 200 and maybe 230 pounds, maybe
Yeah,
240,
yeah.
maybe, in college doing the same things he's doing now in the NFL. So it is no shock to me.
Yeah. We got a comment on the video already from Sam Just says, "What was your experience like playing for Mike Riley and Steve Smith with the Generals?"
Okay. Mike Riley is a very good coach. He's very smart. He's very intelligent. He knows exactly what he wants. He's very detail oriented. He's the type of coach that wants to make sure he has the guys around him that want to be there, that want to learn, that want to excel, and he takes steps to make sure that happens. I mean, he was wonderful. Coach Smith was wonderful. I'm grateful for him. He helped me get the opportunity. He was actually the man I called that helped me get the opportunity to go to the Generals in the first place. So very grateful, very thankful to have those two guys during that journey.
I'm a Nebraska Cornhusker fan, so the Mike Riley stuff, just
Yep.
I'm not going to speak on it. But you know, if he worked out for you, he worked out for you, man. So that's all I can say. But
Right.
he got us our last 9-win season, so I can't knock him too much. But
There you
uh,
go.
with Eastern Michigan, Maction, did you love playing on weeknights, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, things along those lines?
You know, I did because it was one. I mean, being a college kid, you had the weekends free during the season, which is unheard of.
Yeah.
Then I think I had one of my best games in college on a Tuesday night. It was a Tuesday night, November in 2019. I ended up going on ESPN top 10 plays of the week with the catch that I had versus NIU. So I really did enjoy action. I thought it was a cool way to get the Mid American Conference some love during the week, and because it's hard to get a prime time MAC game during the weekends. I mean, it's just so much other things going on, and which is understandable. But I think it's a wonderful way to give the MAC some love.
Do you think that kind of helped with your recruiting, or not like recruiting process, but helped like get you looked at through scouts and things along those lines?
I think personally, no, but I think it can help other people. I think it definitely can help other people because, like I said, the MAC doesn't get much love until they do something like NIU just did and beat Notre Dame. Like they're not going to get much love unless they do something like that. I mean, in my 2 years at Eastern, we beat Purdue and we beat Illinois and we, lost by 3 to Pitt in the bowl game. But those are two games that I would hope have gotten the MAC some kind of recognition.
Yeah. No, I'm a huge college football fan. So anytime
Mhm.
Action is able to pull any sort of upset, whether again, I had a not necessarily a friend, but an acquaintance here in Kansas. He was his name was Boomer Mays. He was a linebacker from Northern Illinois back in like the early 2010s, and I think he came up to Nebraska and upset them. So it was kind of a weird moment to see a MAC team upset Nebraska, but at the
Right,
same time, it happens. You know, Northern Illinois beating Notre Dame. You guys beat Penn or not Penn State. You guys beat Illinois and Purdue. So
hmm
it's weird, but um, excuse me. In 2019, you earned second team All MAC honors, along with other current IFL players or former IFL players. Is it cool to see other MAC players in the indoor football league like Theo Majette, Mike Kerrigan? I mean, you were catching passes from Mike Glass. He's been around from Massachusetts Pirates to the Canadian Football League. Is
yeah.
it cool just to see some of these guys get their shine?
It's definitely cool because I know the MAC has a lot of talent that gets overlooked, and I think the IFL gives those players a perfect place to come and showcase talent. it's so many players out there. It's like especially with the way that the merger affected the merger between the USFL and the XFL. Like it's still MAC players in that league, the UFL, that are dominating as well. And I think it's always good when MAC players get a chance to come around. I think even Nate went to Ball State. I forget that sometimes, but I forget Nate went to Ball State.
We got another comment here. Sam again saying, if you weren't playing football, what would you be doing?
If I wasn't playing football right now, I would be, well, right now I'm working on my real estate degree or real estate certification in Arizona. So that's what I would be doing, probably a lot sooner, but same thing.
I'm trying to remember. I know that there's an indoor football player that has real estate somewhere in that Western Conference. I can't remember who it is.
Rudy,
Yeah. Okay.
that's my guy.
I was going to say,
That's
I
my
swear I
guy.
remember. I swear I remember someone or like a halftime with
Mhm.
someone plugging the real estate business. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, Rudy Johnson.
There you
That's
go.
the guy right there. If
What,
there's
what,
anybody,
yeah,
go
go for
ahead.
it. Go for it. Go for it.
Oh, if there's anybody that's gonna make sure you get some quality out of a house and quality on the field, that's gonna be Rudy Johnson.
What was it like having him as kind of your Swiss Army knife, catching passes, running the ball, throwing the ball, doing everything like that?
A blessing. I mean, for a time on the roster, we had no running back. We asked our quarterback slash DB because he was on the roster in Canada as a DB to go and play running back. Like that's almost unheard of. People don't just switch from offense to defense to quarterback to running back to receiver and make a difference. So that the type of person that Rudy is, the type of person he's gonna be a difference maker on the field wherever you put him.
Now, for my personal YouTube channel that I do for In the Alley, excuse me,
Mm.
I have this little personal inside joke. It's kind of stupid, I know, but anytime Nate Davis scrambles, I get super excited. I mean, big boy just running. Do you guys give him ish? Do you guys like, hey man, you got a 3 yard, you're a leading rusher right now, 3 yards rushing? I mean, do people just I don't know, not make fun of him, but just like, hey man, you got up there on that one.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely, because there was one. I think he looked like he had been running for about 3 minutes in game time, and he only went about 7 yards. I said, man, I would appreciate you just throw the ball to me, and I'll come over there from the other side of the field and block for you. Almost had enough time.
And like again, I know he's had the ACL injury or the
Yeah.
injury. I know he's not nearly as mobile as he used to be, but anytime I see that pocket kind of collapse and I see him take off for 2 or 3 yards and slide, I'm like, oh my god, he went for it.
He
'Cause I
went
know
for it.
I know you guys normally go like four wide, or sometimes you'll have.
Mhm.
I think at the time, would you have Trayvon Van or Rudy Johnson there towards the end of the season, kind of being that
Chance
running back?
Bell.
Chance Bell.
We had our running back Chance Bell,
Yeah.
San Diego State.
There you go.
That's a hard worker right there, man.
What was that like? Well, yeah, I mean, like you said, sometimes you guys just didn't have a running back. I know that some injuries kind of happened, whether it was to Chance Bell, and then, like I said, eventually you had Rudy Johnson just kind of be that guy at the second half of the season. I guess my question here is, who is probably the most prolific / like hardworking guy? Like, who's the guy that you're like, you wouldn't expect to be that guy?
Jordan Crest.
Okay.
Jordan Crest, I can count on him to put in the work to see what needs to be done and make sure he has what he needs to make that happen. On game, I can come out. He'll be one of the first people on the field putting in extra work. I mean, if there's things going on, if his body's bumped, he's hurting, he's in the training room extras, he's on the field extras, making sure he's ready to go. Even when he's hurting in practice, he's taking extra reps to make sure other guys can stay ready to go. You know, Jordan Crest is that guy. Like I said, we had a lot of guys on our team that did their jobs and that were really good and that may not have gotten a lot of shine, but Jordan Crest is a guy that put in a lot of work, very hard, very good teammate, all around great dude.
So I know you've been around the Indoor Football League for a couple of years, not too long, but just enough where some people could consider you, quote, a veteran of the game, since the Indoor Football League kind of deems itself as a developmental league. Were you kind of coaching along the sidelines as well when new guys would come in, whether it's been like Isaiah Cox or Isaac Crocker or anyone like that, where you'd have guys come in on the fly with a week or two maybe of practice, and then you're like, hey, we've got to learn kind of this playbook or these schemes. Get in there.
I would say more so just trying to be there as a resource for guys because I know like the position I was in, guys are going to come and they're going to ask me questions. They're going to see, what I do to make things happen. And we have a lot of guys that have been successful in a lot of places. So, for example, Isaiah Crocker went to Oregon and UNR. Like I don't have to coach him how to play receiver or how to, so a guy like that, I can show one time, something or how to do it. And then he's got it. Like Cress, he's been in this league. This is his second year with the team. So I didn't really have to do much coaching with him or much talking to him because he's right there with me. Lily, he took care of business. I didn't really have to do much coaching. Him and Nate got whatever they needed to get between themselves as far as scheme goes. They took care of that. But our team was a bunch of guys that knew what they were doing, whether it be in this league or in other leagues.
Is that something at the start of the season you guys just kind of felt like? When I did my preseason previews, I didn't necessarily know where to put San Diego. I kind of had them as a fringe playoff team. I didn't necessarily expect 10 wins. Is that something where you guys kind of just started the season and went, we are this team, we are going to make the playoffs? Did you take it more game by game, like 1-0 each week? What'd you guys do?
I would say for me, I can only really speak for me personally, but I know
Right.
there was a feeling going around. I would say that feeling was more so after we had lost a few games. But I know during camp, I come in because I already know San Diego's history. Like I said, I played for Tucson, so I got to see San Diego a few times, and I know they're a good team. And then 2023, I didn't play them, but I got to pay attention still. And they were always a good team. They competed well. Just it was a couple plays here and there that would make San Diego end up losing the game. So, me coming into this, I automatically know I'm gonna do what I do. So that's gonna be something that we don't have to worry about. Then then I'm like, okay, our receiver core is pretty nice. Like we don't have nothing, we don't really have too much to worry about. Then I look in our backfield, and our backfield's got a couple guys that can really tote the rock. And then Nate, Nate is Nate. You don't have to speak on Nate. And then you look at our D line and our O line, and it's like we got guys that are competing. They're fighting. And then, you run it doing one-on-ones, and it's a real battle. We might have a team. You start thinking, oh, we might have a team a little bit. We might this and might that. Then, you go out there a couple games and you sputter through a few games, and you pull out a close one to Duke City, you pull out a close one to San Antonio, and then we take the Rattlers out. We're feeling ourselves, of course. We're up there. But then it's after we start to take a couple of losses and to see how things could go wrong, it's where we start taking the real attention to detail seriously. And then once we did that, we really started to feel like we could take this thing all the way.
How much fun was it watching on the sidelines, seeing your defense kind of take over games every now and again, whether it's Jaquan Ortiz up the defensive line, Atoa Fox picking off passes, Elijah Bell, whoever on the defense. Just how much fun was it just to see them kind of clamp down and be like, yeah, you're not going to score on us every now and again. We're going to get these stops. We're going to block these kicks, or we're going to turn the ball over.
Oh, it was so much fun. And it was such a flip from years prior, because I would go out there, our offense would go out there and make a play, and we can sit back and know that we're gonna get 1, 2, 3, 4 stops in a game. We have on offense a buffer of at least 1 or 2 possessions because our defense is going to get that. Or like we can count it every week, and it's great. It was such a relaxing feeling. It doesn't make you feel like you have to go out there and just have to be perfect. I have to do all of this right now. It's like you can go out there and be who you are and figure it out and have room to figure it out because your defense is going to help you out. I think we had the best defense when it came to turnovers in the league this year. And so it was a lot different from 2022, because in 2022 and with Tucson, that team had the number 1 offense and the last ranked defense. So every time we scored, we got scored on. So it was just a constant battle. But with this team, we were able to score, come on the side, and then celebrate a stop, and then go out there and, do our thing again, and not have to feel like, oh, it's constantly every play. So the defense took a lot off our offense shoulders. The defense this year I would say led this team.
I mean, I give credence too to the special teams. Excuse me. I give credence too. I mean, Elijah Lilly was returning kicks all the time. I mean, he had, I think,
Oh, what
3 or 4 kick return touchdowns. Connor
greatness!
Mangan came in with some drop kick, extra points, and field goals, and things like that. So that was also putting points up on the board
Won
that
us a
we had
game.
to just sit there and celebrate. So I give kudos to them too.
Big
Um,
kudos.
what what was the biggest adjustment? It's been a couple of years now, so you know the indoor game pretty well. But starting out, what was the biggest adjustment from the outdoor game to the indoor game?
The outdoor game and the indoor game, I think the only thing that's really different is the high motion. When it for me, I just had to plan steps a little different and the timing of it. Understanding that the timing wasn't on me. Um, Realizing that the space is a lot tighter, so everything has to happen in a phone book. Uh, but all of those things really helped me for outdoors as well. So it was good learning new skills in different ways.
What do you have any plans? And you don't have to reveal anything right now. Do you have any plans going into 2025? Have you heard anything from the UFL, from the CFL? Are you looking to get back into the indoor football league? Kind of tell me what the process is right now, or if you're just kind of just biding your time until you hear anything.
Um, I'm the type of person to where I don't necessarily like to plan too far ahead because I know things change and God has his own plans for my life. So I know if I make a plan to do something, God's going to present me with another plan to improve. So right now I'm kind of biding time. I'm waiting for opportunities. I plan on, staying in shape, staying ready for the next opportunity. My phone's open, still free agent. So
So, a little elephant in the room. People will look it up online. San Diego versus Bay Area. Something happens in the stands. You end up going into the stands. We're not going to get into any of that. But you end up getting suspended for 3 games per, I guess, the IFL rule book. Players can't go into the stands. Were you still able to practice at that time? Were you still allowed to be at the facilities, be around the guys, or was it just a straight cut and dry like go home for 3 weeks?
it was basically cut and dry, like you can't be around for 3 weeks.
I got
So I mean, the first day I went down to practice, and my coach immediately turned me back around at the hill. So we couldn't risk, getting in trouble or anything like that. So I had to stay in up in the housing for I think 3 weeks, but I ended up just going home for a week or two for a little bit and just recuperating. I think I was at 2 games. I was at the Northern Arizona game, and I was at the Duke City game.
So you were still able to like go into this. Like, I don't mean
Yeah,
to
I
put
had to
it
go into
weirdly.
I
You were
had
able
to
to
go
go into
into
the
the
stands.
stands that
Okay.
time.
So okay. What's your ultimate end goal with your football career? I know the answer would be go to the NFL, as a lot of people would say, or a lot of football players would say. But right now, UFL, CFL, just trying to get your name out there. I'm going to be brutally honest with you. Second team all indoor, missing those 3 games. If you would have had stats in those 3 games, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't be on a UFL or CFL roster by this point. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. I think he probably could have
Mhm.
gotten first team all indoor honors if he had 3 more games under your belt. What is your end goal with your career? Because I know not everyone wants to stay in the indoor game. I get that, but for you,
Yeah.
what would it be?
For me to keep progressing at this point because I'm 26 years old. I just freshly 26. I still have a lot of youth left in these legs. I'm still getting better. I'm still getting stronger. I'm still getting faster. I'm getting smarter. I think I can make a huge difference in any CFL roster, any UFL roster. The confidence I have in myself is I feel like I'm the best. I feel like I'm the best receiver that there is. So for me to
The way
still be
you
a free agent, I feel like there's a lot of opportunities that are going to be out there, and there's going to be a lot of opportunities for me to show my case.
you put up another season like you did this past one, I'm sure you'll be on some sort of roster coming out in 26.
The
Uh,
most touchdowns in a season, After losing 3 games,
There you
you
go.
know,
So
it is what it is.
reading your Eastern Michigan bio, you have two brothers and five sisters. Did I get that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Where are you in the pecking order? Are you the oldest or are you the youngest, somewhere in between? And what were those competitions like?
I am so basically I have all of those siblings, but everyone but my baby sister is like much older. So I didn't really grow up with them, and they lived across the country when I was coming up. So it was just me and my younger sister.
I got
I felt like I was just a big brother, but looking at it, I'm not only the only big brother.
See,
You know.
like I said, I got that off the bio off the Eastern Michigan website. So I'm just picturing eight siblings all trying to fight for like
Yeah.
a couple bathrooms in a house. So
No,
I didn't
my
know if it was
my
anything like that.
my oldest brother nearest to my age just turned 40.
Oh, okay. I understand.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah. Well,
Well, hey
yeah.
man, I know you don't know me personally. Do you have any questions or anything like that?
Which of my games was your favorite?
I mean,
Besides Northern Arizona, I feel like that one's like the most
I'm not
obvious.
gonna lie to you, man. I honestly think that upset against the Bay Area to go to the Western Conference Championship was probably the best game, not personally, but as a team, knowing that you are playing this team for the fifth time in a season. And I can't remember, they won three out of the four in the regular season, if I'm not mistaken. So to
Yeah.
go back to their barn with all of the history, all the controversy, whatever, and to just kind of not necessarily take it to them, but pretty much to say, we're going to go into your house and now we're going to advance in the playoffs.
hmm
That's
We
probably my
controlled that
favorite.
game a little bit.
Yeah,
I would
like
say we controlled that a little bit. I mean, it was a great game on both sides, but I think if you look at the whole overall part of the game, we controlled
and,
that.
and like you said earlier in the interview, to go up against Bob Keefe and Dixie Wooten, who, if I'm not mistaken, he was your head coach in Tucson, wasn't he? That's
Yep.
what I thought.
Two.
So
I played 2 seasons with Dixie.
okay, yeah. And so, and even like in 2022, you were with Daquan Neal, weren't you, at Tucson as well as
Yep.
the quarterback? So yeah, they get a little bit of that revenge and everything too. It just seems like not necessarily revenge, but kind of a little, hey, we're moving on. You guys can just stay here while we go back to San Diego. I don't know. It's just kind of not necessarily a personal, but more of a team thing where you're just like, hey, we got this. Now I know it didn't go the way you wanted it to the very next week, but hey, you
Yeah.
were playing with house money at that point.
So with Bay Area, the 4 games that we played in the regular season, we knew we had them 4 times. So we didn't necessarily want to go, especially for that last regular season game. We didn't want to show everything we were going to show because we had a chance of playing them the very next week, and we were confident based on how the season series had went, regardless of the wins losses. We felt like there were plays that when you go back in those games that we hurt ourselves, that there was nothing that the other team did to stop us or to help themselves. We completely stopped ourselves, which changed momentum of the game, and so on and so forth. So we felt like as long as we can play mistake-free football and just do what we do, we shouldn't have to deal with, you know,
Yeah, because a couple of the
defense and all of that stuff.
yeah, because a couple of those games, it, like, didn't they win 33-30? Was that going to the stands game?
Yeah, they were all close. There was the first game
They
was 53-50. The
yeah,
second game was 33-30. The third game we won was 43-42. And
yeah.
then the last game, I think it was a 10-point game, and then the
Yeah, I
playoff
think
game.
I think the final game was 30-20. Like it was just a defensive struggle.
Yeah,
So like
yeah,
every single game was close, and I remember the 33-30 not just for the events, but because they led 33-6 or something at one point at like halftime, and then you guys ended up making a huge comeback that just ended up
yeah.
falling short.
That was the second game, I think.
Yeah,
That was the game before. No, that was the game that had the 3 game suspension following it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
that's what
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying. Though,
yeah.
is like I think at that point in time they led like 33-6 or something
Yep.
like that.
Yeah,
You guys
33 to
mounted a
6, and
huge
they didn't score another touchdown.
Yeah, and yet you guys mounted a huge comeback. You guys couldn't get that onside kick in the final minute, and they ended up just running out the clock. I thought you guys were actually going to get it, pull out that victory. But yeah, I mean, like I
Yeah.
said, it's just one of those things where it's like you play them close every time. playoffs come around, and I honestly, you guys played them back-to-back weeks. I thought Bay Area was just going to kind of do more of the same, which I mean, you can kind of attest to. Bay Area is more of a we're going to run it, control the clock, and then just when we think you're asleep, we're going to throw a pop pass for 40 yards because that's what Dixie Wooten likes to kind of do. And JT Stokes will be down there at some point, and you guys didn't really fall for it in the playoff game. You guys were
Well,
able
we
to
have we have some really really good DBs when it
yeah,
comes to man-to-man coverage and when it comes to all of that stuff. So, I made it a point to, you know, go against these guys to try to simulate what we're going to see. And, going up against our DBs go up against the best receivers in the league every day. So there shouldn't be another receiver in the league that they can't handle if they're going up against us every single day.
I know.
Me, Cress, Lily, Rudy, Trayvon when he was there, all of us. I mean, so that's kind of our mindset when we're going against teams like this is, we have the best receivers in the league. Let's let our DBs get reps against us so that they can see it all.
Is there a favorite highlight you have, college or indoor or anything like that, where you're just like, yeah, I play that one in my head multiple times, where it's just like I beat man coverage or press coverage or anything like that. I was way behind the defender. What is that highlight to you?
I would say I'll pick one from college and from one from this last season. The one from college is the one-handed catch versus NIU that landed me on Sports Center's top 10. Um, and then I would say there was one play, I don't know if it was a highlight, but it was just kind of athleticism. I didn't catch the ball, but I jumped completely over the wall, I think in the playoff game. In the one that we lost to Arizona, I ran a out route to the corner, and then I think Nate threw it a little late. This was right before my only touchdown of the game, and he threw it to the corner, and I jumped for it, and then I just jumped clear over the wall. I think that was kind of funny. Um,
How bad does that hurt?
I landed on my feet, so it didn't really hurt at all.
Oh, okay.
But the one I would say the one that hurt the most was probably the one in the second game of the season versus San Antonio when I was caught it, hit the wall, and then fell underneath. That one probably hurt the most.
Okay. And what's the longest you've been out with an injury? Like, I guess the question is, what's the most injured you've ever been? Because you played all games against or at Eastern Michigan, if I'm not mistaken. You had a stat recorded in all of your games when I was looking that up earlier.
Yeah, I pride myself on being available. That's just something that I love to do, even if I'm hurting, if I'm sore, if I'm got a hamstring pull, my groin's off the bone. I mean, like there were games where I have two pulled hamstrings and two pulled groins, and I just wrap it up and go because at the end of the day, that I like to be available.
Can't do that. Nope. You're a freaking warrior for that, man. Well, hey, man.
Try.
I'll let you go after this final question. It's been awesome. It's been a pleasure talking to
Oh,
you, man. A lot of
same
great
to you,
answers, a
man.
lot of
Thank you
insight.
for having me.
Hey, what I do want to ask you for your final question is just gonna be a stupid, silly question. What's something people might not know about you? Like something stupid. Like, do you have like a Pokemon card collection? Do you collect quarters? I mean, like, what's something that you would just get completely made fun of, so we can all make fun of you?
Uh, what is some funny about me? Um, I like anime. I mean,
What?
I don't
What?
know if people are making fun of that nowadays, but
No.
I
What
like
animes
anime.
though? What animes though? I mean, we gotta.
So, my fiance got me started a couple years ago watching One Piece. I
Okay.
grew up on Dragon Ball Z. I tried
Same.
Jujutsu Kaisen. I think the mainstream ones right now. I'm still kind of fresh.
You
Still
ever?
kind of
Did you
fresh.
ever watch Toonami?
Toonami.
Yeah.
That's like one of those channels my parents have made me turn off, and I
Uh,
never understood why.
See, that's where I got my start in the anime was Toonami. They had all of that stuff, Dragon Ball Z, Naruto,
Yeah.
Cowboy
Yep.
Bebop, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So just like, hey, I feel you there. So yeah, I can't make fun of you for that, but hey, man, at least you gave me something.
Uh, hmm. I might have a better one, honestly. I have an embarrassing picture. How about that?
Hey, there you go. Whatever works.
I have an embarrassing picture. That's me. See if you can see it. That's me in the bottom corner, and that's my mother.
I got you. That's not embarrassing, man. From the stuff you
When you
told
see
me
the
earlier,
peanut versus the hair.
can't do that, man. Can't make fun of that. Come on. Hey, man,
Man,
I
I don't
appreciate
mind.
the time. I appreciate getting to know you, getting to talk football, getting to talk college, pro, all of that stuff. I do wish you luck in your journey in the future. Whether you come back to the Indoor Football League, whether you get to the CFL, UFL, or reach your ultimate dream of the NFL, man, it has been an honor to interview you. You're an awesome person. I appreciate the time. I'll give you a couple minutes. Floor is yours if you want to give any shout outs or if you want to just say anything.
I just want to say shout out to the Strike Force, man. We had a hell of a season. Thank you, each and every one of you, from top to bottom, from Gino to Nate, everybody. So thank you. I just want to say thank you to you, of course, for having me on and giving me this platform to speak. And I really appreciate it. Yeah, that's about it for me. I don't really have too much more.
If you ain't got anything else, I don't have anything else. Everyone watching, thank you guys for tuning in to watch Arthur Jackson III's interview here on In the Alley and JD Sports Network. With that being said, see ya.
See ya.
I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer.